So it's finally springtime after a pretty harsh winter here in Canada. Today is roughly around 25 degrees Celsius, which is pretty warm for this part of the country. We're only early May, so it's pretty early in the season, and I'm pretty excited to be getting out, getting some vitamin D, and hopefully catching some fish. We're back at Hicks Lake at Sasquatch Provincial Park, just outside of Harrison Hot Springs. Every year I like to come here first as a pre-season warm-up, just because there's tons of fishing here. Not only there are lots of fishing here, but there's also a big variety of fish. We're talking about newly stocked rainbow trout, there's native rainbow trout in here, there's cutthroat trout, and kokanee. So you just never know what you're gonna get when that float goes down. So I'm pretty excited to try it out. This is a great lake to bring kids. Like I say, there's tons of fish in here. And when they're biting, they just never stop. Well, hopefully that's the case for today. So if you're ever looking for a place to go camping and stuff, with the family, bring some little kids out to catch some fish, this would be a really ideal spot to come out between May and July. The fish will move into the shallow once the water gets warmer, and you can catch them by trolling, you can catch it by bait fishing, lure fishing, fly fishing, all different methods. Anyways, enough talking. Let's get set up. I'm gonna show you guys what I'm using today. I'm actually using quite a few different new products today. I'm very excited to show you guys. So stay tuned. You definitely don't want to miss this one. All right, so let's get started. So what we're gonna do today, I'm gonna do my favorite fishing technique, which is float fishing with bait. When you come to a lake like this, if you're on the boat, you can throw around and eventually you'll encounter the fish or two. But the more effective way to catch trout or kokanee is to just float fish by finding out where the fish are cruising around, and you can anchor at that particular spot where the fish are moving around, and you're more likely to get into fish that way. So what I've been doing is I've been cruising along the shallow area, just watching my fish find over here, and watching the depth, watching the water temperature. Today's the water temperature is roughly around 60 Fahrenheit, and these fish are actually in pretty shallow water. When it's a little colder, they're further out in the deep, but most of the fish are now in 10 feet of water, 10 to 15, maybe even shallower. And actually, I can actually see a few fish swimming in the shallows as well. So not only watching the sounder, but I'm also looking into water, actually visually seeing the fish around. So that gives me an idea where the fish are. So we're going to be float fishing, and like I said earlier, the fish are not very big. Most of these fish are roughly between half a pound, a pound and a half. We're not fishing for trophy-sized fish, but these fish are great for kids, and float fishing is a great way of getting young anglers into lots of fish. So what we're using today, we're using a really light tackle. This is a 5-foot-long spinning rod. This is G.Loomis 5-foot-long IMX spinning rod. It's a fairly high-end fishing rod, but you don't need a very expensive spinning rod to do this. So you can go out and spend, anywhere from $30, $50 on a spinning rod like this, ultralight spinning rod. This one is rated between 1 and 4 pounds. You want to go as light as you can, because since we're fishing for small fish, you don't want to be using a broomstick, right? Choose a really small spinning reel. Small fish, small spinning reel. This is a Stradic 1000, Shimano Stradic 1000. It's spooled with 6-pound test fishing line or 4-pound test, and we have a float fishing setup going on. This is a pretty exciting product I got today. So this is it's upside down. It's Top Show Float. So they're based in British Columbia, and they make all kinds of floats for salmon and steelhead. But recently they've come out with smaller sizes. So this one is 4 grams. It's a teardrop float that needs only 4 grams of weight to balance. Again, small fish, small float. If you're using a big float, the fish are less likely to pull it down when they come and bite your bait. So if you want to use a really small float, so that's really sensitive. This particular float, like I say, and it takes about 4 grams of weight to balance. So I'm putting on my fishing line, I got a few little split shots going on here. And you want to put enough split shots on here just so that when this is in the water, only the orange part or even maybe the yellow part is showing on the top of the water. So that's your strike, that's your bite indicator. When the orange part disappears in the water, that's when you know you have a fish on. Down to the leader, so from the main line I tie a little swivel, and then I got 4-pound test Seaguar Fluoro fishing line. I'm using fluorocarbon because they're thinner, even though it's quite strong, and it's less likely to reflect in the sunlight as well. See how bright it is today? You don't want the fish to be seeing your fishing line. So the leader is about a foot long. Down to the end of the leader, I tie a size 6 hook on there. This is a owner size 6 hook, but instead of using a conventional J hook, I'm actually using a circle hook. This is an owner circle mosquito hook. It's really thin, yet it's really strong. And the reason I'm using a circle hook is that it actually prevents fish from swallowing the bait. Most of the time, the fish will hook themselves, and this hook will actually be right at the corner of the mouth. So it's great. It's great for the kids because you know how frustrating it is when you try to teach your kids how to float fish, and you know most beginners, the reaction is pretty slow when you see the float going down. They tend to be a delay on setting the hook, right? But with a circle hook, the fish actually hook themselves. So you actually just have to reel the fishing line in when the float goes down. So it's a great introductory method of getting kids into fishing. And so what I'm going to do is I got a float stopper tied onto the main line. This is roughly around, I say, 6 to 10 feet above the hook. So I'm fishing in maybe 10 to 15 feet of water, and I'm going to adjust so that the bait is sitting roughly around 2 or 3 feet off the bottom. So if you're fishing 10 feet of water, I'm gonna have my float adjusted roughly around 8 feet or 6 feet, just above the bottom. Most of the fish are gonna be cruising just above the bottom, and trout tend to look up for the things that they want to eat. So they'll be cruising along, seeing a bait a little further up, and they'll come up to bite it, hopefully. For bait, what we're going to use today, we're going to use Pautzke bait. It's a new product actually, so what we're going to use is this. It's called Fireballs. And in the past, what we've been using is these natural single eggs by Pautzke bait again. But recently they've come up with a new product, which is these artificial eggs. They're scented, they're garlic scented, and very, very slippery. Look how glossy and look how nice they look. So I'm just gonna put one onto the hook, like so. So grab one of the balls and put one onto the hook. Like that. And what I like to do is put the actual bait just over the eye of the hook, like that. Not really getting the bites I'm hoping for here. Let's make a move. See what happens. Okay, a little more promising. I've got a log submerged right across where I want to fish, so hopefully that provides some protection. Fishing roughly around 10 feet again. So let's try that. Okay, spot number 2, no good. Let's move again. Okay, spot number 3. Let's see how we do here. I like this spot a little better because we're kind of fishing parallel to the shoreline, so I know exactly how deep when I'm fishing at right now. Rather than casting towards the shoreline, the depth should be the same as where I'm anchoring right now. Oh, there goes, real. Oh, missed it. There goes the other one. Oh, the other one's gone. Oh, I missed that one too. Come on. Oh, it's not going so well right now. Okay, let's get this out again and. Alright, we got some fighting fish here. There you go. Come on. Take it. There you go. Haha, finally. Little guy though. This rod out of the way. It's a little kokanee. On the 5-bowl. 5 minutes into this new spot, it's going well. There you go again. Because once they're really biting, it's pretty hard to keep up the 2 rods. Oh, there it goes again. There it goes again. There you go. Oh, I missed it. The thing with trout is they get into this feeding frenzy once the fish are around. Yeah, this one's gonna go again. There he goes, yeah. See, not even setting the hook, just reeling the line. That's another small one. Let me get some bigger fish. The other rod's going. The other rod's going. Okay, that's a fish. Hook's right at the corner of the mouth. Yeah, it comes off. Nice and easy. Good. These 5-bowls are pretty awesome. Okay, gonna check this one here. I think it stole the bait. Yeah, it did. Actually, it's all tangled up. Ooh. 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 A little better. Okay. Oh, came off. Oh wow. Just getting tangles. We'll have another one. Oh. Another fish. Another little guy. We're trying to unhook the other hook onto the carpet. Yeah. See, these fish is hooking themselves. Unbelievable. Oh. This is just another one, little guy. That's how fast the fishing is right now. It just this is a cutthroat. Oh, came off. Another little rainbow trout. Well, that was a little fun. It's about 7 o'clock in the evening now. The sun has gone behind the mountain, and the fishing kind of died down a little bit. We tried out 3 or 4 different spots today, and the first 3 spots didn't really produce. Yeah, we got the odd fish, but overall it was pretty slow until we hit this spot right here. That's where we got into quite a few fish, and there's another fish right there. So yeah, that's fishing. You never know. You got to move around till you find the fish, and the fish are not just at one particular spot all the time, and it is what it is. So let's see this fish here. Another nice rainbow trout. Let it go. It's a pretty good way to end the day. Anyway, so I was saying, this is just a very short video. What I want to do to come out today was show you guys that you can use circle hooks if you want to introduce fishing to your kids, to beginners who have never fished before, because with circle hooks you really don't have to set the hook. You don't have to time your hook setting with the float downs, and the fish are just hooking themselves, which is, as you can see, which is pretty straightforward. And with bait, you just got to use this new product. I'm pretty impressed. I was getting quite a few bites. Usually I'm pretty skeptical with artificial baits, but this actually works pretty well. And there's no shelf life for this. I mean, this artificial bait, fiber, you can keep this as long as you want, and you'll work pretty well. So I'm very happy today with how many fish I got. I'm just gonna keep doing a few casts and pack it up and go home and have dinner. So hope you enjoyed the episode, and there will be many more videos to come this spring and summer. We got some really exciting destination that we're planning out to feature for the rest of this year. So be sure to check back, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and thank you very much for the support. Another fish. Yep, there's another fish. And if you have any other questions, be sure to leave a comment. I'm always happy to hear some feedbacks. If you want to see something that you haven't seen on the channel yet, make sure you leave a comment. And until next time, good luck fishing.
Boys and girls listening, please. So we started our garbage pickup at the school grounds, and we found quite a bit of trash, didn't we? Yeah. But the trash, where it is dropped, it does not just stay there. It slowly moves with wind, with rain. So when it rains, the water collects on the ground, and the trash makes its way from our playground into places like this, right, Peyton?